Good morning. Here's your U.S. news briefing for Thursday, July 23. Saudis must recognize Israel for nuclear deal, says Trump. The U.S. president says the landmark agreement to help Saudis develop nuclear energy is dependent on it joining the Abraham Accords. $200,000 worth of supplies donated to PB schools. Oil prices hit $100 for the first time since May. The price of Brent crude rose more than 5% on Thursday as the war in the Middle East continues to escalate. Lawmakers prepare bill requiring AI kill switch. Lawmakers are preparing to introduce an AI kill switch act that would require AI companies to shut down or throttle their systems on orders from the Department of Homeland Security, according to a report from Politico. Representatives Ted Lieu, Democrat California, and Nathaniel Moran, Republican Texas, are expected to introduce the legislation on Thursday. Cram grades offseason moves for all 30 NBA teams. We hand out grades for every NBA team after a busy offseason of trades and deals. SiriusXM adding WWE channel with live coverage of premium events, exclusive. WWE Radio will feature live audio of events like WrestleMania, as well as other programming from the wrestling giant. The Vogue Business People Moves Tracker. Bringing you the latest hires and exits, and highlighting the leaders shaping the industry of tomorrow. Ghanaians ICC petition over migrant attacks opportunistic, says South Africa. The petition argues the violence against migrants in South Africa could amount to crimes against humanity. Family throws surprise birthday party at Eagles tailgate for Vietnam vet. Eli Lilly says it will file for approval of next-generation obesity drug in 2027 as it clears 2 more trials. There are now positive results from 5 late-stage trials on retatrutide, which Lilly is positioning as the next pillar of its obesity portfolio. Your backstage pass to TechCrunch Disrupt 2026 is waiting. Volunteer at TechCrunch Disrupt 2026 and get a behind-the-scenes look at how one of the world's biggest startup conferences gets built. Panthers Tepper adds $500 million to stadium upgrade. Carolina Panthers owner David Tepper is investing an additional $500 million into ongoing stadium renovations after the team announced a naming rights extension with Bank of America. Dario Albertini's Armoni, set for world premiere in Locarno's Piazza Grande, secures Swiss distribution with Xenix, exclusive. Italian director Dario Albertini and #8217, S Family Drama and #8220, Armoni and #8221, has secured Swiss distribution via Xenix film distribution ahead of its world premiere at the Locarno Film Festival in #8217, S Piazza Grande section. Sold internationally by True Colors, and #8220, Armoni and #8221, is produced by Fremantle Company The Apartment, Damical, and Rise Cinema in association with HBO Max. Zegna revenues spiked 10% in Q2. Growth at all brands drove second quarter revenues up double digits, despite muted sales in EMEA. France evacuates 20,000 as wildfires spread in southwest. Most of those evacuated were tourists from campsites around Arcachon Bay in France's Gironde region. House approves Department of War renaming in annual defense bill. House lawmakers approved the renaming of the Defense Department to the Department of War in the body's majority vote for the annual defense policy bill on Wednesday. The fiscal 2027 National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, includes a $1.15 trillion spending request for national security and pay raises for service members. The legislation, which typically enjoys American Airlines stock tumbles 8% as fuel spike further postpones turnaround. American Airlines further cut its 2026 earnings outlook, citing higher fuel costs. Apple's OpenAI lawsuit is about who gets to define the post-smartphone era. Today on Decoder, I'm talking with Hayden Field, the Verge's senior AI reporter, about the major trade secrets lawsuit between Apple and OpenAI and what this tells us about OpenAI's future. By now I'm sure most Decoder listeners are familiar with Apple's allegations in this case. Chiefs unveil renderings of $3 billion dome stadium. The Chiefs unveiled the first renderings for their new stadium in Kansas that is scheduled to open for the NFL's 2031 season. Burlesque the musical London opening postponed to 2027, UK tour pushed back, exclusive. The London opening of an #8220, Burlesque the Musical and #8221, has been postponed while the UK tour, which was due to start this weekend, has been pushed back, Variety has learned. 10 minimalist 90s nail designs making a comeback. Classic French, frosted effects, and pastel polishes, these nostalgic manicures are all part of the 90s nails revival. I am still alive, Indian activist on hunger strike for 26 days loses 11 kilograms. Sonam Wangchuk has been the main draw at the Cockroach Janata Party, CJP, protest in Delhi. Watch live, White House holds briefing as Iran tensions fuel fears of wider conflict. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt will brief reporters on Thursday morning as the administration faces scrutiny over its strategy in Iran, the broader conflict in the Middle East and as the death toll rises for American troops. President Trump has issued a slew of warnings to the Iranian regime and its allies, including Houthi. Albertsons stock plunges as it says weaker grocery spending will cut into sales and earnings. Shares of Albertsons sank Thursday after the grocer reported softness in its core business and lowered its full-year outlook as a result. Ford bets on Apple for its next generation of EVs. Ford is the first automaker to use a new set of developer tools that will let it embed Apple Maps navigation and mapping directly into its vehicle's infotainment systems. Sources, Emanwari on PUP due to ankle surgery. Seahawks standout safety Nick Emanwari is expected to miss some time in training camp but be ready by week 1 following right ankle surgery, sources told ESPN. Toronto, Mike Flanagan Carey, Sean Ryan's American Hostage, join Primetime 2026 program. The episodic TV sidebar also has premieres for the latest season of Slow Horses and Crystal Lake, the Friday the 13th prequel. All the standout fall-winter 2026 fashion campaigns so far. U.S. signs nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia. And, Nolan Wells independent autopsy results. The U.S. has signed a nuclear cooperation agreement with Saudi Arabia. And, the independent autopsy results of Nolan Wells fuel more questions surrounding his cause of death. Live updates, Houthis hit Red Sea tankers, Congress votes on separate war powers resolutions. President Trump is threatening to intensify the war with Iran as some Republican lawmakers urge him to finish the job, but there is also widespread skepticism on Capitol Hill on both sides of the aisle about whether he can deliver a victory. The House convenes Thursday morning to vote on a Democrat-sponsored war powers resolution. Comcast earnings highlight NBC Universal strength ahead of planned split. Comcast said earlier this year it would split the cable businesses from the media business, creating two separate publicly traded companies. Ford picks Apple Maps for its next EV platform and updated Blue Cruise. Ford plans to embed Apple Maps directly into its universal electric vehicle platform, which will start with a $30,000 midsize pickup truck set for release in 2027. Fins, All-Pro LB Brooks reach $51.3 million extension. The Dolphins and linebacker Jordan Brooks have agreed to a 3-year, $51.3 million extension with $35 million guaranteed, agent Eric Burkhart told ESPN's Adam Schefter. The Spell-Off Live competition game show sets premiere date on YouTube. 8 State Studios has announced the premiere date for The Spell-Off Live. The first season of the creator-driven competition series will kick off on August 11th at 10 p.m. Eastern Time on YouTube. 10 foods packed with leucine, the amino acid your muscles need after 40. Your body doesn't produce this essential amino acid on its own, but it's key to maintaining muscle. Let's enjoy the ride, says Elon Musk, as AI fears mount. Talking to The Economist, Musk said he doesn't care if people hate him and said he was not a racist. Watch live, Trump picked to lead CFPB faces Senate confirmation hearing. Brian Johnson, President Trump's pick for director of the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau, CFPB, is testifying Thursday morning before the Senate Banking Committee. Johnson served in various roles at the agency during Trump's first administration. Office of Management and Budget Director Russell Vaught has been serving as the acting CFPB head. Government to cut business rates for pubs, clubs, and music venues. Some hospitality firms will get a 20% discount from next April, saving an estimated £1,100. The sci-fi movie that imagines AI isn't so dystopian after all. Imagine you are the parent of an inquisitive 7-year-old who loves his family, playing baseball, and hanging out with his friends. It's the life you've always wanted. And then the worst thing that ever could happen happens, a freak accident takes your son away. Panthers Moton sidelined with blood clot in lung. Panthers starting right tackle Taylor Moton was diagnosed with a blood clot in his lung late last month and will miss regular season time, the team announced Tuesday. Disney, ESPN lend Toy Story boost to athletes Unlimited Softball League. When ABC this Saturday shows the first game in the annual championship series of the Athletes Unlimited Softball League, it will do so with a few special guests in tow. Botox for a better mood? Our expressions both convey and sway our emotions. So if you freeze your face, will you change your mood? Trump says the Saudi nuclear deal hinges on the kingdom normalizing ties with Israel. After a Saudi nuclear power deal raised alarm in Israel, President Trump announced online that the arrangement is subject to the kingdom normalizing relations with Israel through the Abraham Accords. Don't wire foreign enemies into America's power grid. As America modernizes its electric grid, policymakers should focus on the software and control systems that carry the greatest security risks. That's your briefing for today. Have a great day.